In this video, we're going to talk about why it's a smart idea to wear a rash guard underneath your gi. So I know a lot of people out there don't like the gi in general because it feels constricting. And then now I'm asking you to put a rash guard underneath that, on top of that, to add to the constriction, maybe a little bit of the claustrophobia. And I get it. There's even some competitions where you're not even allowed to wear a rash guard underneath your gi, and I get that as well. But let's talk about longevity of your jiu-jitsu career. It's the same reason we roll on mats instead of concrete floors. We want to make sure our jiu-jitsu career lasts as long as possible. If we were rolling on concrete floors, the injuries would increase and the chances and dangers of unnecessary injury go up. The same thing with wearing a rash guard underneath your gi. You want to limit your skin exposure. It's no mystery here that jiu-jitsu has the high chance of transferring things like bacteria and fungus and other diseases because, let's face it, in your day-to-day life, you're not sharing sweat and blood and tears with other people, but on the jiu-jitsu mats, we are sharing a bunch of bodily fluid. So what we want to do is we want to limit that exposure as much as possible. So we want to limit the amount of skin that's maybe touching the mat. We want to limit the amount of skin that's touching other people's sweat. And that is going to add to the longevity of your jiu-jitsu career. The less direct skin exposure to the mats, to other people, to other people's clothes is going to be better for you in the long run. And trust me, your body is going to be thanking you for deciding to wear a rash guard underneath your gi. And you can see I even wear full spats every single day, not just because I look cool wearing spats as a man, but because I want to limit the amount of skin exposure I have. And I know in the long run that's going to help prevent certain diseases and transfer of diseases, and that's what I want, because I can't afford to be out of the game for a week or two because I'm catching diseases all the time, because I'm on the mats all the time. That's just not okay. So I want to make sure I'm wearing a rash guard underneath my gi each time I train. I wear full spats each time I train, and I utilize soaps and other things. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Also, it might be a little bit courteous to your other training partners because you are preventing the amount of sweat getting on top of them, and I'm sure that they don't want to be covered in your sweat. I mean, it's inevitable, but at least having a rash guard is going to help limit that and mitigate it just a little bit. So that might be just nice to your training partners, especially if you're a male rolling with female athletes. I'm sure they don't want to be covered in your sweat, and that's okay. So make sure you go check out the X Martial website to make sure you get some rash guards to wear underneath those gis, and also just to pick up some cool wear in general. Make sure you're adding to the longevity of your jiu-jitsu career, and make sure you're keeping yourself safe, and make sure you're trying to keep as much sweat to yourself as possible.